The impact of interest rates and inflation on retirement savings, two important economic variables that can have a big impact on retirement savings and financial security, are inflation and interest rates. Retirement is financed by fixed incomes and savings, so changes in interest rates and inflation can reduce purchasing power, change investment strategies, and force retirees to make tough lifestyle decisions. In this video, we will explore some of these impacts in detail. Number 7. Erosion of purchasing power. A sneaky economic force that gradually reduces money's purchasing power over time is inflation. This erosion reduces the real value of retirees' savings and fixed incomes, which can have disastrous effects. Consider a retiree who has prudently put aside $500,000 for retirement and intends to take out $20,000 per year, or 4% of their Social Security benefits. That $20,000 will only have roughly $7,400 in buying power in 30 years, assuming a constant inflation rate of 3% annually. As a result, the retiree's standard of living will gradually decrease since their fixed income will no longer be sufficient to keep up with the growing prices of goods and services. A retiree's quality of life can be severely impacted by even a modest rate of inflation, which may force them to choose between necessities like food, housing, and healthcare. Retirees who want to stop this erosion should think about investing in assets that can outpace rising prices and carefully factor inflation into their retirement budgets. Number 6. Investment strategy adjustments. Retirees are frequently forced to modify their investment strategies in order to maintain their standard of living as inflation reduces the purchasing power of fixed income investments. This may entail allocating a greater percentage of their portfolio to growth-oriented investments, which historically have yielded higher long-term returns like stocks or real estate. But there is also more risk and volatility associated with this change. For instance, a retiree's account value may fluctuate more quickly if they shift 50% of their portfolio from bonds to stocks. This increased volatility can be especially concerning for retirees during market downturns because they may have a shorter time horizon to recover losses. In order to ensure that their investment strategy is in line with their financial objectives and unique circumstances, retirees must carefully balance their need for growth to combat inflation with their risk tolerance and time horizon. Retirees can manage this fine balance and create a diversified portfolio that offers growth potential while controlling risk by working with a financial advisor. Number 5. Social Security adjustments. The purpose of Social Security benefits is to give retirees a base income, and the yearly cost of living adjustments are meant to keep their purchasing power stable in the face of inflation. But, especially in sectors like healthcare, the CPI used to determine these adjustments might not fairly represent the real inflation that retirees faced. For instance, healthcare costs for retirees may increase by 5% or more during the same period, even though the CPI may only show a 2% increase in overall prices. Over time, this disparity may cause the true value of Social Security benefits to gradually decline. For example, if a retiree receives $2,000 per month from Social Security and the COLA is 2%, their benefit will rise to $2,040 in the subsequent year. They will, however, actually have 3% less purchasing power if their real cost of living rises by 5%. Despite getting yearly COLA adjustments, retirees may see a decline in their standard of living as a result of this gap growing over time. Retirees should think about adding additional income sources to their Social Security benefits, such as personal savings, investments, or part-time work, to help reduce this risk and make sure their total income stays up to date with their actual cost of living. Number 4. Impact on fixed income investments. The value of current fixed income investments, especially bonds, tends to decrease as interest rates rise. The idea behind fixed income investing is the inverse relationship between bond prices and interest rates. Investors find newly issued bonds with higher yields more appealing than older, lower-yielding bonds when market interest rates rise. Consequently, existing bond prices decline to offset their decreased yields. The perceived safety and steady income of bonds have attracted retirees, and as a result, a portfolio's overall value may decline significantly. For instance, if a retiree invests $100,000 in 3% yielding bonds and market rates increase by 2%, the bond's market value could drop to approximately $90,000, meaning the retiree would lose 10% of their principal. Even though retirees can hold these bonds until maturity and get their face value, it can be unsettling to see the short-term drop in market value, particularly if they need to sell the bonds to adjust their portfolio or meet income requirements. On the other hand, increased interest rates may present chances for fresh investments in fixed income instruments. However, retirees will have to weigh the trade-offs between short-term cash requirements and long-term capital appreciation. Number 3. Cost of living increases. The cost of living is directly impacted by inflation, which is a major worry for retirees on fixed incomes. Retirees may find their budgets getting more and tighter as the cost of necessities like food, utilities, and transportation keeps going up. For example, a retiree may be unprepared for an unexpected 5% increase in housing costs or a 10% increase in healthcare premiums if they had budgeted for a modest 2% annual increase in expenses. Significant lifestyle adjustments may be required as a result, such as moving to a less expensive area, downsizing to a smaller home, or spending less on discretionary items. Retirees must factor inflation into their budgets because the cumulative effect of growing expenses can result in financial stress and a lower quality of life. Consider a retiree who receives a fixed income of $60,000 annually to get an idea of the impact. Their purchasing power will decrease by almost 25% over a 10-year period if inflation averages 3% annually. This means they will require an extra $15,000 annually to maintain their current standard of living. Retirees can preserve their financial stability and adjust to these increases in the cost of living with the support of proactive planning and routine budget reviews. Number 2. Pressure on savings rates. When inflation is on the rise, retirees might feel compelled to make smaller contributions to their savings in order to cover urgent costs. For people whose retirement plans have not sufficiently accounted for inflation, this can be especially difficult. Retirees may prioritize spending on necessities like housing, food, and medical care when costs rise, which may result in lower overall savings rates. The vicious cycle where retirees become more and more dependent on fixed incomes that do not keep up with inflation may result from this reduction in savings. As an example, let's take a retiree with $500,000 in savings who intends to supplement their other sources of income with $20,000, 4% a year from their savings. Their purchasing power will decrease by almost 25% over a 10-year period if inflation averages 3% annually, bringing their real income down to just $15,000. Retirees should think about ways to reduce this, like working part-time jobs, looking for other sources of income, or delaying retirement in order to preserve or even grow their savings. Retirees can better safeguard their long-term financial security by emphasizing savings and investing in assets with the potential to outpace inflation. Number 1. Healthcare costs. For retirees, healthcare costs are a major concern because they frequently increase more quickly than overall inflation. People usually need more medical care as they get older, and those expenses can add up. For instance, long-term care costs, out-of-pocket medicine costs, and Medicare Part B and Part D premiums can all rise faster than the rate of general inflation. Financial strain may result from this, as retirees may discover that their medical costs are taking up a greater percentage of their income. To give an example, think about a retiree who sets aside $5,000 annually for medical expenses. Over a 5-year period, their purchasing power will decrease by almost 15% if those costs increase by 5% annually, while their income only rises by 2% as a result of inflation. Moreover, a lot of retirees might not have enough money saved up to pay for unforeseen medical expenses, which would force them to make tough decisions about their care and way of life. It's important to plan ahead for medical costs, and retirees can reduce these by taking advantage of programs like health savings accounts or long-term care insurance. Retirees can enhance the safety and quality of their lives by proactively addressing healthcare costs in their retirement plans. Understanding these impacts is crucial for developing a robust retirement strategy that can withstand the challenges posed by inflation and interest rate fluctuations. If you like our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.